anymore. It shows the consequences of what happened in the first 4 years now being brought down to human form.
I think that both Joe and I had actually come to the harsh realization that we were going to probably not have a fifth season.
There was never a moment where we thought, okay, we've proven that we're a good show, the fans love us, we're going to be around for a while, you know. There was always that, I don't know if we're going to get next year.
We have gone through everything you can imagine, never knowing between each season if we were coming back until it seemed like the last minute.
It is a tribute to Joe and Doug Netter, our executive producer. They alone really made it happen. On their back, they pulled it together so that the story could be completed.
Turner picked up the series and gave it a big shot in the arm. And that was at the last moment where we weren't sure we had a home for the fifth season, which was the end of the 5-year arc.
Give me everything you've got! There's several million people riding on this.
There were a number of problems, story-wise, going into season 5. Year 4 would have ended on Intersections in Real Time, with Sheridan being captured. And the next 3, of course, resolved the Earth conflict. Now, I had to get into a 5th year without that momentum. Plus, we lost Ivanova.
Claudia leaves the show. She's going to be replaced by this actress, Tracy Scoggins.
You're not going to make this easy on me, are you, sir?
It's not my job.
Coming in after Claudia's departure, I felt a real responsibility to the fans not to let them down. I would never even assume to try to replace Ivanova. That was not my role. My role was to create a new character, so that's where my concentration went.
I was the only one that totally understood where she was coming from. I said, it's going to be rough at first, then they're going to get to know you, then they're going to get to like you. Don't worry about it.
Did you take a stand?
You asked me if I took up arms against my own government. The answer is no. My job is to protect the men and women who serve under my command, and I will perform that job with every last breath I've got.
The writing sort of went parallel with that, because the people on B5 didn't trust Lockley in the beginning either. And so life and art were on a parallel course there.
She was the right person to do it, a veteran actress, really who could back up those incredible looks with some real acting.
They have to make it right, Lita. We'll force them to make it right.
How?
By giving us a homeland of our own.
Every revolution begins with one spark. I wanted the Byron character to be that spark.
Byron had strong leadership skills, I guess, you know, to command a group of people and prove to them, even though, you know, there wasn't a lot of food and they were poor, that they were going to get a home world of their own.
His arrival as a nearly messianic leader, charismatic, is what sets our character, Lita, in motion.
I don't think Lita wanted to be bad. I don't think that was in her heart, but nobody would accept her.
There is always the question of the other, the one person who is different than us. And I wanted to sort of show a new kind of bigotry.
The normals were afraid of the telepaths, and as a consequence, they persecuted them. That is through history. We've seen that. When you're afraid of people, you either defer to them or you subjugate them.
Like you said, I'm new at this. I could even make a mistake, or maybe even pop a blood vessel in someone's head by accident by pushing too hard. Feel like playing the odds, Mr. Bester.
She goes from wanting to be a good guy to being half alien, being alienated, being half alien, and then striking out on her own. It's kind of an everyman story. We all start off feeling, I'm normal, I'm nothing special. I'm just normal. And then, boom, some extraordinary circumstance happens.
You're an alcoholic, Michael. You can't just have a few drinks and get over it.
But addiction interests me as a writer. And in Jerry's character, in Garibaldi, I wanted to show a person who has been living in denial for a very long time.
I told Joe, I said, look, if you're gonna make this dude an alcoholic, you know, don't do a 2 or 3 episode story arc. Play it out. It's a real problem for a lot of people, and if we're gonna do it, let's do it with dignity, let's do it with style, and let's show the consequences and the redemption and the trade-offs. And he did.
That's gotta be a great feeling. Emperor Malari the First.
The second.
There was one before you?
Yes, long ago. He too ended badly.
Where most of our characters end up actually better off than they started, someone has to take the brunt of bad decisions.
That is the ongoing lesson you know, the subtext of Babylon 5. You have to be accountable for your actions.
Year 5 is entitled The Wheel of Fire, coming from the line of literature about I am strapped to a wheel of fire, which for me was Londo's arc. It follows him from being a buffoon and a laughable character in the beginning to a person who was tragic, almost on a Shakespearean level at the very end. And that sense of being tied to a wheel of fire, of almost of your own volition, you tied yourself there, and now it's all burning down around you, is emblematic to me of Londo's fate.
People saw it and were moved by it, and that it was important, and they cared what happened to these people. And now I see that that actually made a difference.
The 5th season, when we were leaving, I remember there was a sign in the docking bay that said, "Welcome to Babylon 5." And I remember seeing it when I first got there 5 years earlier, and I knew that this was the last time that I was going to see that sign. And it doesn't take a great actor to just play the realities of the moment. I'm saying goodbye to my buddies, you know. We've been together for 6 years, and we may never see each other again. And, you know, it's like, wow, it hits you. And then you walk away, and that's it.
So it was the end of Babylon 5. And I'll never forget it. It was still one of the most poignant times I've ever had in this business, where we genuinely, where fact and fiction came together.
This was an opportunity to tell one long tale across 5 years. It was a nice confluence of time, opportunity, benign neglect, and the circumstances of Babylon 5. And I'm very proud of it, and proud of the cast who cooperated and helped out and told that story, the studio who allowed me to tell that story without interference, and the fans who supported that story.